Hello and welcome to the KALs podcast. I'm Christine and I'll be your host. This is episode 45. I am calling it Mini KALs, I think. Today is Tuesday, February 3rd. I wrote January on my paper with the first time I wrote it and had to cross it out. It's February. I like February. February is an awesome month. There's something symmetrical about having 4 weeks exactly, unless there's a leap year, of 7 days each. It always feels fun to know it's a balanced month. And I like hearts. I like red and pink together. I will wear them together all the time. I love the word love. My first web domain had the word love in it. And yeah, so it is February 3rd. Today it is cloudy, 46 degrees. I can see little raindrops on the tree outside my window. It is completely bare of leaves, but I can start to see the little teeny tiny buds forming on it, and that makes me happy to no end. That means spring will be here before you know it. Hopefully. I am coming to you from Vancouver, Washington. I don't always say that, but I love where I live. Let's see. So, I'd like to welcome new returning viewers. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate that a few people have introduced themselves in the introductions thread. When I get a few more, I will introduce you all on the podcast. So, thank you for doing that. There's a link to that in the show notes every week. So, let's move into some life stories. So today, I was looking through what I had done this week. Sometimes that means I look through my calendar. Sometimes I look through my Instagram feed. And I don't have a whole lot of life stories to report. I have some upcoming things. And I have knitting related things. But in general life stories, it's been an okay week. There's just been a lot of busyness going on. This current week is also full of lots of events for my husband and I. And so, yeah, we've just been moving along. But some knitting exciting things. I spent a bit of time this weekend on launching the Harmonized KAL. I love web design. That's kind of where I got my start. And so doing graphics and the coding to put up the pages and then integrating it all with the Ravelry and social media. So the Harmonized KAL, my new pattern, you guys have heard me talking about it to no end, is now up on Ravelry. Let's see, can you see that? There we go. You can also see the reflection. So I'm really excited about that. It's so great to finally have it up after working on it so nicely for the last few months. There are still a few kits left if you want to jump on that on sheepspot.com, or you can go purchase the pattern individually now. The knit along that we're going to do as the Yarnings podcast, we are going to do a harmonized knit along, and that will run from January 1st when the pattern was released through the end of March. Then it's the same ending date as our Conversation KAL knit along, and that'll give you enough time to find the right yarn you want to use and be able to finish up any other projects so that you can work on it. So that will be awesome and fun. And I have talked about knitting mine with this hand spun that I did 2011, I think is what I decided. This is the leftovers that I chain plied from my sweater yarn when I made that. And it is not quite enough yarn, so I'm considering doing it and making it shorter. So, short version the short version has this much of chevron, this much of feather and fan, so I could shrink the main body of it, and then I would probably have enough. So I think that might be what I do. We'll see. I've been wanting to find something to use for that beautifulness, and this cowl being so nice and close to the neck would be so luxurious for that handspun. So that's the Harmonized Cowl launch. That's the knit along. We will have some prizes for it. I know that there'll be some little things from Sasha, but I don't have them here yet to show you. So, and then I will add some additional things from here as well. Another exciting knitting related thing that I am looking forward to, in kind of the bridge between life stories and knitting adventures, is I have a class this weekend at Happy Knits. Happy Knits is one of my very favorite Portland yarn stores, and they are one of 2 locations that are hosting Joji Locatelli and Vera Valimaki on their U.S. tour. The other location was the actual Madeline Tosh store in Texas, I believe. And so I'm going to take a class. I'm taking a class about sweaters that fit, which is just in line with what I want to do this year, is knit sweaters that fit me well. And we've been told to bring tape measures and wear tighter fitting clothes so that we can learn how to measure ourselves. So I think that in conjunction with all of the stuff that I've been learning with Custom Fit and Amy Herzog's classes and books, I think this is all going to be perfectly in line with what I want to learn right now. So I'm really excited to get to go take that class and see the new Interpretations trunk show, Interpretations 2. So last year they had a collection together, the 2 of these designers, and so this year their new collection is out, and it looks fabulous, and I'm so excited to see it in person. I'm going to wear my laneway tunic. Even though the class I'm taking is from Joji, I'm hoping that I can show it to Vera before or after my class. So that will be really exciting, and I'm looking forward to going and being around other knitters. So that's on Sunday. Okay, one other little life story. I put up my 2015 goal post that we've been talking about. I just wanted to get it typed up and able to look back to in an actual text format rather than just my thought bubbles. And Pitaloop commented on Instagram and said that was oh crap, I forgot what she said. Mind mapping. There we go. I got it. That was how she learned about it, and she's a teacher, so I believe that is the correct wording for it. All right, let's move into the actual adventures in knitting now that I have babbled on in between. All right, I'm going to increase this stitch here before I set this down because I'm at the beginning of the row. All right, there we go. So, finished objects. I have 2. So last week we were talking about using up leftovers, and I showed you the leg warmers. I got to wear these the other day. I showed you the leg warmers, and then this is, I want to put it on and mess up my hair. This is the hat. I'm not going to put it all the way on. This is what I'm calling my slip slant hat, because that's what the technique that I think I'm going to call it. You can see how the slant changes a little bit as you go through. It was very, very lumpy bumpy when I first bound off, and then I blocked it and it's a little bit less, but it's still very cool looking. I love how the top of it turned out. So see, I have a piece of yarn here. I strung a few more pieces of the yarn through because it's really too loose. It doesn't want to stay on very well. So I'm attempting to keep it a little sturdier by having 2 strands, you can see it better on the inside, 2 strands of the yarn woven through each rib. It's not a perfect solution. I should have cast on less stitches. I didn't do quite enough ribbing to be able to flip it over and have that help stay it up, but it's still a very cool hat. It was really just a proof of concept, and I could totally knit this out of something else and do it a little bit closer fitting on the bottom, and it would probably work out just great. And I will wear it like this. I probably will tie off the end and actually weave in those ends instead of having the tie dangling, so that then I still can wear it. But mainly it was just to see what would happen if I used this pattern in a repeating way like this, and I'm really pleased with how it worked out. And I still have quite a bit of this yarn. There's still 30 grams. I made leg warmers and I made a hat, and there's still 30 grams of the yarn left. So I don't know what I'll do with the rest of it. I suppose I could try again on the hat and do it a little smaller, and then it might work out that way. So there's that thought. I didn't have that thought till just now. So that is the slip flat hat. I also finished, let's put them on. These are my sheep spot wristers, which also use that same slanting technique on them. I did these just like I did my Neontastic ones, just to use the leftover yarn. I can wear them under my jacket like this, and they'll keep my wrists warm. And I can feel a little like a superhero. So I love how these pooled. They came out so neat. Look at those color changes. Isn't that awesome? This is the Sheep Spot Sustainable Merino Fingering, which is the same as my Harmonized Cowl. It's the leftovers. This was how much I had left. I had that much when I was done. I did 1x1 twisted rib on the top and a edging. I really liked how that looked. So these will probably get written up. This is what the main proof of concept for this slanting technique is, and yeah, I'm excited about them. So those were my 2 finished objects. Work in progress. I have my Spirited Cardie. I worked quite a bit on this so that I could separate off for the sleeves, and I have about 1 inch under that. So I've started the back decreases. Let's see. So that's looking pretty good. Let's see if I can get you a little closer color. That's a nice bluey version of it. It's just a slightly lighter there from the light hitting on it. But that was the nice blueness of it. So I'm excited about this, but it is taking a bit of time with the long fronts. The front will have about that much that hangs down. This is this side. So that won't change. That'll stay the same until I get down towards the bottom, and then I do a little shaping. Yeah, so it's just going to take a bit. You'll be seeing this for quite a while, and it's in my Girl Cave bag, which I love, and it matches, so that makes me happy. So that is the Spirited Clouds. That's what I'm calling it, the Spirited Cardie. I'm calling it Spirited Clouds because the yarn reminds me of clouds, how it's pooly. And then I have 2 new works in progress. On Sunday, I bound off these mitts and I cast on 2 things. All while I was doing my product launch. So this very strange shaped item here is the beginning of the Novum shawl by Martina Ben. This is, so you Judy's Magic cast on in the middle of this. You can see the stitches, the direction that they go. You can't see any seam in the middle. And then you work increases on each end. There's 3 little spines, 1 on the top and 2 there, 2 where the markers are. There you go. These are the markers. These are Creation by Uli. I don't see where her card went, but Creations by Uli stitch markers, and these are the stitch markers that you can win for the Conversation Knits KAL, which is what this is for. So I'm working with some of my very old stash of Knit Picks Shadow. You guys know that I used it for my Color Affection. I had a lot of it back. They had a sale that was a really good sale, and it was early on in my knitting life, and I really didn't know what I would use lace for. But I bought a bunch of it, and then I bought more colors, and then I bought more colors. So, I have quite a bit. And then, at a warehouse sale, I bought some more. So I have quite a bit of this gray. Where's my little label here? This is Shadow Basalt Heather is what the gray is. Basalt, I don't know. I have Blue Violet Tonal and Wine Kettle Dyed, which is a nice pinky red, and Begonia Kettle Dyed. I think I got the red and the purple at a warehouse sale. I used the Basalt Heather for a clapetee, a lace weight clapetee for my sister, and I meant to make myself one, and I started it and then I ripped it out. I wasn't enjoying it in that format. So I'm going to do the center of it in Basalt. As much as that'll probably be a big circle in the center, and then the Blue Violet, and then the Wine, and then the pink, I think. Unless I change that order. And I'm kind of thinking I might like to put beads. So this drawer right here has a ton of beads in it. In fact, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my phone and I'm going to take a picture of my awesome drawer of beads, and then I'll put it in the podcast right there. So you can see. So I have quite a few that I could choose from that might go around the edge, because my Citrone has beads around the edge, and I love the weight it gives on the lace weight. And since it's the same lace weight, I think that having the beads on the edge might give it that extra oomph. I can fold it in half and drape it around me easier because it'll stay down. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. So this is my Conversation KAL knitting. It's also Knitbar Girls Bam-Along because it's another Martina Ben shawl, and I've been making them for quite some time. I think that that's a never-ending KAL that they'll have going on. When I was thinking about doing the Viajante, that would also have worked well. But I think for this one, this is the one that I am most excited about knitting and letting it be my conversation knitting for the next quite some time. Once I get a little bit farther, I will have an easier time with the corners. Right now it's kind of small, and so I'm doing doing it magic loop, I can add a longer cable to my Chow interchangeables. I have little connectors so I can connect multiple cables together. And then I'll be just going around and around and around. The only thing that I'm noticing is these jingle just a little bit. So it might not work quite as well in church unless I put different stitch markers on it. But still, I think once I get just a little further, it's going to be awesome for knitting while playing games, because it's just going to mostly be stockinette. Every other round, you do increases at the points, and it's easy to tell if you're on a increased row or not. I just have a different stitch marker. The center one from the set has the heart on it, which is perfect for knitting in February, isn't it? I thought so. And I think my color choices, while they are February-esque, they are also Christine-esque. So it works. Do you do that with colors? All right. So instead of sitting here and knitting on this, I should show you some more things, huh? Let's put those back up there. This has become my spot for the current knitting labels. I can't talk. All right. So the next work in progress that I cast on. Oh, this is so fabulous. I wound up my amazing Magpie DK in the fairy hair color. This is from Wool and Vine Yarns, hand-dyed in Brooklyn. Magpie DK is Merino Silk Stellina, 231 yards of amazingness. It is so amazing. And I cast on my beeswax cowl. And this is where I'm at. I started the little cables this morning while I was watching Dark Matter Knits. And I love her podcast, and so I've been saving up the episodes. So you can see there's the bottom of a, oh, and I've got an awesome Art Deco-y like stitch marker on here because that made me think of Kristen too. So yeah, there's the beginnings of the cables, and I am just loving this. I'm trying to not let myself knit a whole lot on it because I want to knit it forever. It is just fabulous. So I'm really excited about knitting it. I'm really excited about wearing it, but I don't want to knit it too fast. So that's the second thing that I let myself cast on. Because I only had the one thing on the needles by that point. So I probably need to cast on the next thing is the socks, because I want to have some socks to knit on at my class this weekend as well as this. Hopefully I'll get this to a better spot that won't be an easy way to transport around. And then I don't necessarily need to bring all the colors with me for that anyhow. All right, so this is for Conversation Cal and the Bamalong. The Nuvum cowl is for Treat Yourself from Innis Knit, and the Self-Indulgent cowl from Yarniacs. The socks will be Operation Sock Drawer, of course. And then I have a couple upcoming knit-alongs that I'm going to be participating in. Oh, the Slip Slant. These two will be self-striping Cal knit-alongs for the Stockinette Zombies. I am also picking what I want to knit for the Zombie Knitpocalypse knit-along. They have a knit-along that goes along with it, and you can get 2 entries. You can knit with yarn from the marketplace and a designer from the designer showcase. I'm in the designer showcase again this year. So you could do both of those for 2 entries, or you could do two yarns or 2 designer showcase patterns. I will undoubtedly knit socks. I don't know which one of these. It's probably going to be one of these. Solar Flare or 716 that was in our one of the goodie bag yarns for last year. They both have nylon. One is BFL. The Solar Flare has BFL, and so this is 716 socks, so it's 20% nylon. And I'm probably going to do the stitch pattern from Hermione's Everyday sock, because Erica Luder is also in the designer showcase, the designer for that. I'm also thinking about other. I have a bunch. I have some. I am lucky enough to have some Sun Valley still. And so I might knit another one of Angel Shawls. Oh, so I'm thinking also about one of Megan Williams of Stockinette Zombies. I'm thinking about one of her tops, like literally over the top, but I don't have yarn for that. So yeah, I'm just kind of looking at all my options to see what I want to knit. I'll probably knit a couple things for that, even though I only get 2 entries. But it's so much fun to pair up the yarn that I bought for last year. Oh, yes. And then I have 2 skeins of this amazingness. This is Dancing Dog Dye Works Tango Sock. I have 2 big skeins, her XXL, in Chili Verde. And I know Amy from Stockinette Zombies just knit some in the Tweety version of this colorway. And even though it's really yellow, I think it could look really nice on me. And thinking about doing a Vera Valimaki pattern called Flare with this. So that's another top. That would also work for Stockinette Zombies wishing for warmer weather. See, I've got all these knit-alongs I want to knit. And I want to design. There's also the D-Spackle, which is the drop spindle knit-along. All of my spinning has been with a drop spindle. So I need to see if I can use one of my drop spindle yarn that I already have, although this wouldn't be enough for it. But I have a bit up there that I haven't knit with. So we'll see if I can make it to that. That's for the Yarngasm podcast. And I think those are all of them. Oh, and then the Winter Wonderland KAL that the Geeky Girls Knit have going on. That I need to get my entries in for that, because I have quite a few that I can tell stories about the winter. And of course, I'm doing Fiber and Dice podcast game knit-alongs. So all the different challenges that I told you about last week. I'm so excited. There's just so much awesome knitting coming up. It just makes me so happy to be planning, especially since I got some things off my needles. I am ready to be working on more stuff, and it's just all so exciting. So let's see. I had a question on Ravelry from Okie Lynn. She wanted to know about tensioning. So I'm going to try to put a video that I recorded right in here so you can see how I tension my yarn, which is like that. So I'm going to try and put the video in here. If for some reason I can't get that in there, I will demo it next week. All right, so Okie Lynn asked me on Ravelry how I tension my yarn. I wrap it around my ring finger and then my pointer. The pointer controls the yarn, and the ring finger really does the tensioning. That just works really well for me. So I'm doing 2x1 ribbing here, so you can see when I knit, I just kind of scoop that strand up and bring it through. And when I purl, I move it forward, and I'm going to exaggerate a little bit so you can see where my yarn goes. And it wraps around like that. And usually I keep my finger pretty close to the knitting. And because I'm at an awkward angle, I'm doing a little bit more supporting with my middle finger than I normally do because I'm up in the air a little bit. Try and do it a little more normal here. But my fingers tend to be so close that it's hard to take pictures of where I'm at. But hopefully this will give you a little look at my style of continental and how I tension the yarn. Go a little slower. And I think that should do it. This is Woolen Vines Magpie DK, and I'm knitting on the beginning edge of my beeswax cowl. So there you go. That's how I tension and how I knit. With knitting community, there were some great things that I saw on Instagram this morning that I wanted to talk about. Java Jenny was talking about knitting through the Cascadia pattern collection and doing a bunch of tin can knits sweaters this year. So in honor of that, my now wearing is the low tide cardigan. I made it a little snugger than the pattern, and so I'll show you how the pattern looks. In the pattern, they have it so that you can button it. So you can see the cute one down here of her with it buttoned. So instead of buttoning it, I did one clasp. So there's just a hook and eye right there. And I actually really like how it fits. You can see the lace goes all the way around the back shoulders. I did it in Tashmere Delight, Madeline Tosh TML. And even though it doesn't attach the way that they had it, I really like how mine turned out. So thank you, Java Jenny, for helping me decide what to wear today. I also saw Corey, I Rock Knits, was talking about a challenge that she was challenging her knitting group to wear and photograph their hand knits so that they were actually wearing what they were knitting, and I thought that was great. So you can see some of those under the hashtag 28 hand knits for the 28 days of February. Uh-oh, I dropped a stitch. I just felt it. Okay, I'm going to pick that back up. The other exciting thing that has been going around social media is Cooperative Press is having a contest promotion-y kind of thing where if you talk about Cooperative Press books, you can enter to win their big contest that's going on. So I've posted a few things. I own 2 Cooperative Press books. I own Market Yourself by Tara Swigert, and when she wrote this, I was taking her classes, so there are a few examples of me in this book. I also own the Knit Girl Guide to Professional Knitwear Design, which is fabulous. And then I have several ebooks. I have just recently purchased Bigfoot Knits by Andy Smith and Sock Architecture by Laura Neal. Those I haven't gone through very carefully yet. I've looked at them and that's about it. So I'm really looking forward. I see that I heard a stitch marker drop, and I hate to just run over it with my chair. I am really looking forward to getting into those books. And these 2 that I've already read are fabulous. So you should go and check out Cooperative Press's site. They have a link to the contest info. I signed up to be a Cooperative Press affiliate, so if you click through on the link from the show notes, I'll get some credit for sending you their direction. I love gifting Cooperative Press books too. I have several friends that have been the recipients of various ones. I've also recommended that my library buy them and add them to the collection. We've gotten several that way, or at least I know that I'm one of the people that suggested it because it wasn't in the collection, and then when they added it, they put it on my list of books I was waiting to get. So I know that I at least contributed to that. Does your library have Cooperative Press books? Cooperative Press is awesome because they really support the independent knitting designers and give them much better shot at a livable wage than a big publisher would. So I am a huge fan of Shannon and everything that they are doing there, and so many of the authors are just fabulous, and I've gotten to interact with them online, and it's really, really a fun thing to see their success. So go share the CP love and be part of their contest, and click through the link on the show notes. Okay, I think that's the knitting community for today. Let's move on to Sagas of Geekery. My big, giant saga of geekery came in my first Amazon Prime box. Ugh, this is heavy. So I signed up for Amazon Prime this last week, and my first purchase was Legendary, which is a Marvel deck building game. Deck building games are most common one that people start with is Dominion. So you start with a pile of cards that is your deck, and so you'll have a set of different things, and then you play your cards. And it's considered a deck building game because you're adding different things. So in this case, you'll have a hero deck that has multiple sets. Oh, Black Widow's upside down. Multiple sets of different heroes and villains and stuff like that. And depending on the card, different things happen. So I'm not going to go through the cards. There's a lot of them. We also got the Dark City expansion. But I've been totally geeking out over all the different information and statistics about the different cards. And I have protectors, the little card sleeves coming so that each one can have its own little sleeve, and that helps for deck builders especially, so that because you'll shuffle them more often than a normal game, so that would keep them protected. It is a fabulous game. I tried it out because Rebecca, Engineers Falcon from Fiber and Dice, had recommended it, and I'm so glad I did because this is awesome. I'm really looking forward to getting a few more of the small expansions and the new things that will be coming out. It's great because they can add different things that will change the game. I even got an app on my phone. I'll show you. I got an app on my phone that randomizes what you might want to play with. So you can tell it which expansions you have, and then it will tell you exactly what things to take out of the box and how to put your deck together for that game. Really cool. Just totally makes my geeky data mind excited. And then there's a board and the stuff that you need to play. And yeah, so I won't show you all the little details, but I just wanted to show you my awesome new geekiness. I cleared a whole shelf off of my game shelf for this and its future expansions. So that's what I'm geeking out over. We also played Trajan this week. Besides Legendary, we played Legendary twice and then Trajan. We've just been pretty busy. I've been continuing to watch Lost. I don't think we watched anything else this week. I looked at what they have on Amazon Prime now that we are members. I got a water bottle from Amazon Prime. It came from Kentucky, and within 18 hours of when I ordered it, so the middle of Friday, Saturday morning at 8 o'clock, it was delivered. I just don't even understand how that can happen. Came from Kentucky. So I love these Camelback water bottles. I have multiples, but the bottle itself cost less than getting another top and the straw. And those, because I drink a lot of flavored waters in them, they don't last as long as if I were just using plain water. So it's kind of the price to pay for wanting to drink the flavored waters, but that helps me drink it better, more water if I put the flavoring in it. So every once in a while, I let myself have a new water bottle, and that's fine. This is my fourth, I think. One of them, I lost the lid, so that one, the other lids don't fit in it properly. Somehow I ended up with one that was smaller. Anyhow, way sidetrack, but Amazon Prime, pretty darn cool. Book of cooking, we've just been eating random stuff. I made roasted yams this morning, and I'm going to have some Mexican food tonight. Fanciful chatter, I got a new eyeliner. It didn't work as well as I was hoping, so I have another one that I'm going to try next. I have fancy eyes today. Purple, pink, minty green. Just for fun. Sometimes I get inspired sitting at my makeup desk, and today I wasn't planning to be quite so fancy, but I did. I'm wearing my favorite red lipstick too. This is Sizzling Red from Mary Kay in a sleek, awesome container. It comes out like that. Isn't that neato? Okay, and the happiness continues. I've been using my bullet journal a little bit, and I'm kind of considering it my unbullet journal because I'm really not using it the way they intended. And I used that wording on a hashtag the other day, and I thought, oh, that's exactly what it is. It's my unbullet journal. So I'm using it pretty lightly right now. It's got all of my pattern notes, my notes from studying different things that I'm doing for self-care. It had all my menu plans, but I haven't been doing that as regularly as I used to. But it does keep all of my podcast notes. So you can see the top of this page there says Yarnings 43. So that's the page. I've got an extra one coming out. That's the page for that episode. So each week has its own little fold out page like that, and that is working way better for me. So this is today. And I'm dropping things again. There must be something that I drop every episode, huh? It's the lipstick. My floor mat is coming up, and so things go back and forth on it. It's just kind of silly. So my happiness is my unbullet journal that I'm using lightly. So I think we're going to call that good for today, guys. I am really glad you spent time with me today. I really enjoy interacting with you guys online, and I love recording for you every week. I hope that you are having a fabulous day and that you are seeing things in your life that's making you super happy, like knitting is doing for me. So let me tell you how to find me. You can follow me around the internet. I am Christine, with a K, on Ravelry. I am Katie Elby, just the letters, on Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest. You can find the Facebook group, Facebook facebook.com/yarnings, where I post the updates. The Ravelry group is also called Yarnings Podcast. If you search for that, you should find it. And you can find links to everything I talk about on yarningspodcast.com. And that's where I post any extra journaling entries that have to do with knitting as well, like the 2015 goals post. The Yarnings group on Ravelry is where we post all of the knit-alongs that are for our group. So you can see the conversation KAL and the new KAL for Harmonize will be up there as well. All right, now I think that's everything. So until next time, that's the story. Bye.